For 3 years running, the unforgiving Doha deserts have crushed Coco Gauff's dreams in straight sets, leaving her legion of supporters screaming that she should have bypassed the Middle East swing entirely. I'm here to dissect exactly how this catastrophe unfolded for the American star in Qatar, and why I believe the Polish powerhouse Iga Swiatek is locked and loaded to snatch her fourth Golden Falcon. I am Christian Bassite, and this is Christian's Court, your ultimate courtside pass to every angle of the tennis world. If you haven't joined the squad yet, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a beat of the action. Now, regarding Coco, history was entirely on her side, having never dropped a single set to Elisabetta Cosciuretto across 3 prior battles. But the script was flipped violently today in Doha when the Italian admitted only by sheer luck obliterated the fourth seed, 6-4, 6-2 to storm into the third round. This marks Cosciuretto's second giant killing act against a top-5 titan, mirroring her dismantling of Jessica Pegula 6-2, 6-3 on the lawns of Wimbledon last year. So, don't let that ranking of 57 fool you. The woman clearly possesses weapons of mass destruction. The Italian is the definition of mercurial, running hot and cold with dizzying frequency. She lifted the trophy in Hobart this season, sweeping the final, only to crash and burn in the Australian Open's opening round against a rival ranked outside the top 90. The irony is that she actually failed the preliminary qualifiers right here in Doha, scraping together a measly 3 games against Gracheva. Yet, the tennis gods intervened when McCartney-Kessler withdrew, handing her a lucky loser ticket, a twist I assumed favored Gauff, given Kessler's past victory over her in Dubai. However, I must tip my cap to the underdog. She produced some absolute magic, particularly during that grueling 32-shot marathon at 3-all in the first frame. But let's be real, there is no hiding the fact that Gauff was spectacularly out of sorts today. Usually, this is the sort of gritty contest where you expect her to claw through an ugly opener before eventually dominating in straight sets. Considering Elisabetta is far from a serve-bot posting 0 aces and Gauff is a premier return specialist, the table was set for a feast. You would assume she'd be breaking serve at will, rather than managing a solitary break the entire match. She sniffed 2 opportunities late in the first set at 4-3 and 5-4. The first chance evaporated thanks to sheer brilliance from across the net. But the second? That was a disaster. At 5-4, Gauff's feet got tangled on an approach, gifting the Italian an easy passing shot winner. The Qatari winds were swirling, sure, but Gauff's movement looked unusually sluggish and clumsy. Perhaps that lack of agility bled into her forehand, causing the collapse we witnessed. She was spraying returns from a standstill. The stat sheet screams the story. 39 unforced errors, predominantly off that forehand wing. Gauff was trapped in a tactical limbo, unable to find the sweet spot between patience and power. Her post-match confession in the mix zone, captured by The Athletic, paints a grim picture. She admitted, "I went for aggression and missed everything. Then I tried to play passive with shape, and she stepped in to crush the ball." Gauff attempted to toggle into defensive wall mode, hoping her athleticism would force errors, but the strategy backfired completely. Those loopy, high-spin forehands she loves to direct toward her opponent's backhand corner. Often, she escapes punishment even when those shots land short. But Cosciuretto pulled a page from the Karolina Muchova playbook, stepping in, taking it on the rise, and putting Gauff on the back foot. Perhaps the sluggish Doha courts are a factor, yet players with rock-solid backhands are ruthlessly exposing this vulnerability. It is time for a serious rethink in the Gauff camp. She needs a sturdier shield because the locker room has figured out the blueprint. To be fair, she showed a flash of brilliance when staring down the barrel of 3 break points. Trailing Love 40 at 3-1 in the second set, she finally committed, leaning into her shots with proper conviction and body weight. 3 thunderous winners erased the deficit, only for her to instantly undo the hard work with a double fault and a sloppy backhand error, surrendering the double break. From there, she doubled down on low percentage gambles, a strategy I frankly couldn't comprehend. Aggression is fine, but where was her signature weapon, the heavy, short-angle cross-court forehand? It went completely missing, likely a casualty of her shattered confidence. The alarming trend isn't just that she is losing, it is that these aren't valiant defeats where she plays her heart out against a superior foe. A glance at her defeats in 2026 reveals a grim reality. The chasm between her winners and unforced errors is simply massive. The real trouble is her rhythm. She just cannot seem to get every cylinder of her game firing in sync at the same time. Take today, for example. Her serve was actually behaving itself, with only 3 double faults on the stat sheet, but then her forehand completely abandoned her. Usually, it is the exact opposite nightmare. She will spray 15 to 20 double faults, yet her ground game is locked in enough to drag her across the finish line. It has become practically an open secret that the Middle East swing has been a graveyard for Coco's performance over the last few seasons. A legion of fans were vocal today, insisting she should have bypassed this entire desert stretch, or at the very least, sat out Doha. Honestly, skipping it might have been the smarter play, considering she has not managed to snatch a single set at this venue since 2023. The consensus among critics was that she should have traded these tournaments for the practice court to strictly refine her mechanics. I get why she played, though this is a golden chance to claw back ranking points, and dodging 1,000 level events this early in a career is rarely a good strategy. She is a player who runs on confidence, typically catching fire only in specific windows like the United Cup, the clay season, or the Asian swing. I suspect a huge part of the problem is psychological, haunting her with the knowledge that this court in Doha has never been kind to her. You could see it the moment she walked out. She carried a defeated energy and was noticeably more vocal about her frustrations with her box. Gauff opened up in the mix zone afterward, admitting, "I just feel like the mechanics I am drilling in practice vanish the moment I step onto the match court, which is beyond maddening." Unfortunately, this narrative has been the recurring theme for a large chapter of Coco's career. She looks like a world beater during training sessions or in doubles, but the moment the singles spotlight burns brighter, she tends to crumble under the weight. It is fascinating, really, because you would assume that with virtually 0 points to defend during this Middle East block, she would swing freely and play some of her most liberated tennis. Yet the reality was starkly different. It is just bizarre. Fingers crossed she can snap out of this funk and make a deep run during the Sunshine Double, because even though she bumped up to number 4, she has a mountain of points to protect once the clay season hits. In my eyes, this tournament goes down as a massive, blown opportunity for Coco to bank some easy points. The toughest obstacle on paper before the semifinals would have been the 24th seed, Jelena Ostapenko. That said, Ostapenko is playing some scorching tennis right now, having just dismantled the 8th seed, Ekaterina Alexandrova, 6-4, 6-2. This is a prime shot for the Latvian to defend her finalist points from last year, but she cannot sleep on Camila Osorio, who is sure to make her work for every ball. It is also pretty wild to think that Amanda Anisimova, sitting at 41 in the world, is the last American standing in the Doha draw. Looking at the bottom half, the field is absolutely loaded, featuring a spicy rematch of the Adelaide final between Mira Andreeva and Victoria Tomova. Tomova took care of business today, knocking out the 41-year-old veteran Vera Zvonareva in straight sets. Andreeva absolutely crushed her 6-3, 6-1 back in Adelaide, but Tomova was running on fumes that week, so I expect a much fiercer battle this time around. Meanwhile, the Australian Open champ Elena Rybakina is on a tear, winning 21 of her last 22 matches after a solid 6-2, 6-4 victory over the dangerous Xinyu Wang. It was a gritty performance from Elena to close it out in straights, especially considering she fell into a 2-4 hole in the second set and faced a break point that would have put her down a double break. Next on the menu for Rybakina is another Chinese star, but this time it is the powerhouse Qinwen Zheng, who kept her campaign alive with a roller coaster 7-6, 3-6, 6-2 win over Alicia Parks. Huge credit to Zheng for digging deep, especially after staring down 2 set points in the opener. This feels like another match that slipped through Alicia's fingers, but her game is clearly trending upward. Just getting this far after the quick turnaround from Austria is impressive. She had to grind through qualifying and survive a brutal opener against Diana Schneider. That first set alone clocked in at 80 minutes, so you have to applaud her fighting spirit. But in the end, I think the physical tank just ran empty. If Alicia can just sharpen up her breakpoint conversion and tame that flat forehand that occasionally misfires, she will be dangerous. Once those elements click, she has the potential to make serious noise this season. Rybakina leads the head-to-head 2-1, though Zheng took the last one at the 2024 WTA Finals. Still, my money is on Aryna to get revenge here. Over in the top half, the three-time Doha queen is shaping up to be the heavy favorite to reach the final yet again. She kicked off her title defense in style, cruising to a 6-love, 6-3 demolition of her opening round opponent. Swiatek mentioned to Sky Sports that she has been fine-tuning her serve after that quarterfinal loss to Rybakina in Melbourne, and honestly, the delivery looked rock solid today. She won over 70% of points behind both her first and second serves, which is a scary stat for the rest of the field. To be completely honest, Iga looks poised to absolutely cruise through this section of the draw without breaking a sweat. She destroys anyone outside the elite tier, and her track record against Daria Kasatkina is terrifying. She hasn't dropped more than 3 games in a single set across their last 6 showdowns. But then, you have to consider Barbora. Sure, Krejcikova snatched a set from the world number 1 back in Cincinnati 2024, but I wouldn't bet the house on an upset happening here. Maria Sakkari looked sharp, dismantling Paolini 4-2, but here is the cold truth. She hasn't managed to take a single set in this matchup since 2022. Flipping to the bottom half, we have got a spicy Czech derby brewing between Karolina Muchova and Karolina Pliskova. Further down the bracket, Alina Svitolina is sitting on a stellar 11-1 record this year as she prepares to lock horns with Anna Kalinskaya, who just knocked out Emma Navarro in 3 tough sets. Speaking of Navarro, her season kickoff has been rocky at best, leaving her with a dismal 3-5 record so far in 2026. The pressure is about to skyrocket too, because she has 500 huge ranking points to defend when the Merida tournament rolls around in just a fortnight. Switching gears to the men at the Rotterdam 500, all eyes were glued to the top seed Alex de Minaur. The Demon squared off against Arthur Fils, and while the Frenchman fought like a warrior to force a first-set tiebreak, the world number 6 was simply impenetrable. De Minaur sealed the deal 7-6, 6-2, while another rising French star, Giovanni Impecci-Perricard, crashed out early. He fell to the 7th seed, Talon Griekspoor, 4-4. Incidentally, Perricard has been making headlines for splitting with his team. He recently parted ways with longtime mentor Emmanuel Planque, the very coach who guided him to a career-high ranking of 29 globally just last year. Things have slid since then, leaving him at 56 in the world. While over in Dallas, Lerner Tien became the first seed to pack his bags thanks to Marin Cilic. Cilic edged him out 7-5, 7-6. Tien showed incredible grit, rallying from 3-5 down to save 2 match points. But Marin's explosive firepower ultimately shut the door. You have to give massive respect to Marin. At 37 years young, he just became only the 2nd active player to clock 600 tour-level victories, an absolute legend of the game. That wraps up this quick-fire edition of Christian's Court Report, but I want to hear your take. What did you make of Coco's performance? Do you reckon bypassing Doha or skipping the entire Middle East swing is the strategic move she needs right now? And tell me, are we destined for a blockbuster replay of the 2024 final between Elena Rybakina and Iga Swiatek? Smash that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a beat when the next report drops. Huge thanks for tuning in and for all the love. I will catch you on the next one right here on Christian's Court.